It's the 19th of May and not a lot going on the tracker. Everything's pretty much as we described it 2 days ago. And here, today's Guy Day. So Guy Waits is making reasonable progress. That's him right at the bottom of the line here, and I'll go straight to that. There's not a lot for me to talk about today. We've been still pretty busy here in the office with plenty going on, getting bits and pieces done, and some people being away. So Georgie's just headed off for another week or so. But anyway, all good. So here's Guy down the bottom of the screen here. He's about 15 degrees north, 37 west, and he's doing around about just over between 5 and 6 knots. And if we pull this up here, well, first of all, he's about 2,600 miles from Les Sables d'Olonne. He's in a quiet part of the trades, and it's actually hooked around pretty nicely where he is there now. You can see it's not typical northeasterly. It's got quite a lot of east in it. So that's good for him. He's making a track a little bit east of north and heading up towards the Azores. So you've all seen what happens with that. He's still got a fair way to go, and he's got trades there sort of pretty consistent. So if I hit that, and we just look at what he's likely to get. It's typical trades, but as I say, it has a fair bit of east in it, because he's around this area here. You can see it's coming over quite heavily. So that's good for Guy. He's looking pretty good for a few days there. And we'll keep you updated with that as he's going. So then we come up to poor old Jeremy here. He's heading over to New York. I don't know whether you saw his tweets, but that was a little bit of fun. He's heading somewhere else, everywhere but else except for Les Sables at the moment, and it's not likely to change in a hurry. Distance to there, in fact, he's around about only 800 miles to go, but he can't get there. So about 800 miles, and if I just turn this off, I'm going to turn the weather off here, because then you can see his track a little bit easier. If I put this up, so you can see Les Sables d'Olonne's over this way, and that's where he's been going. Basically, he knows that if he comes across here to the east, the wind's going to increase, and if he goes out to the west, it's a little bit more mild, and he's able to make the most of the sea state. But even still, there's some heavier weather coming. I mean, not storms or anything, but certainly stronger trade winds. So at the moment, the waves are kicking in. He's got 2.5, 3 meters. Which is pretty uncomfortable, beating to windward, and he'd rather not do it, but there's not a lot he can do. So he's taking it forward of the beam. Looks like if this wind direction is correct, he's got it at about 70 degrees, maybe 60, 70 degrees on the starboard bow, and bouncing along. So what's likely to happen here now, I'll just kick it back one stage so you can see Les Sables d'Olonne. It's, as we said, there's just days and days of these northerly winds, and he's on the edge of it there. But you can see by tomorrow, this time tomorrow, it's starting to increase. When you see the colour coming, it's going from 20s into the 25, 28 knot forecast winds. So it's picking up. The sea will build up a little bit as well, and he's right on the edge of that. And it just doesn't matter what he can do. It's still all wrong. At least it's come around a little bit less east in it. Here it's northerly. I'm not sure how far out he'll go. He'll tack pretty soon, I'd say, and coming over here. But at least with a northerly, he's slowly making enough height. He's climbing up, to the north. And then even with a northerly, he can sort of tack across it towards Les Sables d'Olonne. The problem is, as he's getting closer to the Bay of Biscay, it's coming from the northeast, which is right where he wants to go. So right now, it's got a northerly, and that's where he wants to go. But as soon as he starts coming across, it's going headwinds again. So there's nothing he can do at the moment to win anywhere at all. You can see all this. It's just going to go on. In fact, it goes on as far as this forecasting. This is going to be tough for him because that's 28, gusting 30, 35, gusting 35 even, going through here, and he's still got to make his way. This is in 3 days. In 3 days, he's going to be right there somewhere. And the favoured tack is port side, because at least he's going up, on starboard tack rather, at least he's going up in a relative direction. Here, if he tacks across, he's going to be coming into La Corona, which is not much fun. So it basically could not be any worse at all. And then we go through to the 23rd, it's still the same. And 24th, it's still the same. 25th, I have to leave here on the 31st of the month for about 5 days. And I'm wondering whether he'll even be into Les Sables d'Olonne by then, because this is the 26th, 27th. And then when it finally backs off, there's no wind. The only saving grace here is that this is nearly a week in advance, and the forecast could be wrong. This back end of the forecast has changed a little bit since we spoke about it 2 days ago. But nonetheless, you can see the general trend. It's all headwinds, all very hard work. So very depressing for Jeremy. I feel for him. Not a lot we can do, but that's the way it goes. Anyway, if you're watching this and you still got a question you want to know about the GGR, you got a last opportunity to get them into the YouTube section, YouTube comments, to answer your questions, and I'll be doing that maybe even late today, depending on what's happening in the office. So we'll see you again in a couple of days. Thanks very much, and I switch off from here.